parole, and who have been married to a US citizen. So we are looking at particular dates, okay? So the person who entered the United States without parole and without admission, basically without a visa or without passing the border, so, you know, cross the border maybe, or came on land or water. So if they have come and have been in the United States from before June 17, 2014, and they are married to a US citizen, and they were married to that US citizen before June 17, 2024. So it doesn't matter even if it's just one day before that, or their child, okay? And they don't have disqualifying offenses or immigration violations, then they are eligible to apply for parole in place, which means once it's approved by the government, they will be able to apply for permanent residency in the United States. Now, for some people, this may be more straightforward than for others, and it really depends on your immigration and criminal history. Let's say those who have been here on DACA, right? They obviously have been here before 2014, and most likely, considering the age right now, they are married to a US citizen, but because they entered without inspection back when, or with parents, or they entered as children, they were not able to obtain their permanent residency. This is a perfect opportunity for them. And for them, is going to be much easier than it would be for someone, for example, who uh, enter the United States, even if they entered a long time ago, they committed maybe a crime, or they are not married to a US citizen, or even if they were just arrested and the charges were dropped, but it took a while, or maybe they were dropped as part of a diversion program, or prosecutorial discretion, or pretrial intervention, whatever that is called in the particular jurisdiction, those people would have more issues. Now, the ones that are going to be very affected by this are those who already have removal orders, or who have had executed removal orders, meaning they were sent back and then they re-entered the United States. So obviously there are issues on those. So there are various degrees of complexity on this new parole program, and don't take it lightly. It's not as simple as filling out a form, no matter what you see online, okay? There are plenty of people out there who will tell you that it's just a form, go online and apply. First, there is not going to be an opportunity for re-parole, which means you need to get it, and that's it. And during that period of time that they are going to give it to you, if they are going to approve it, you have the time to apply for residency. There is not going to be, oh, if you don't qualify, we'll just give you parole for another 3 more years so you can get another work permit. That will not be the case. So we do not yet know, because this just started today, right? We do not yet know if there is going to be a possibility to apply a second time if you already got denied the first time. So take this with a grain of salt. Know exactly how much risk you are willing to take, how important this is for you to get this done, get your residency without leaving the United States, because otherwise your options will be severely limited. You do not know if this gets denied because you try to do it on your own. You don't know how that's going to be. Are you going to be able to apply again or not? So let's address some of the questions that I see here, okay? And I will only have about 20 minutes to address them today. Please put your question only once. I'll see a question entered twice. I will not address it. Your specialist is in USA. I'm assuming if our specialty is USA, we only handle US immigration law. Yes, if that's what you mean. However, we do have clients all over the United States and all over the world. So it doesn't matter where our clients are located. Let's see. I'm a US citizen. The government wants to deport me. If you are a US citizen and the government did not make a mistake when you became a US citizen, the government cannot deport you. Okay? So that is impossible. You are a US citizen, they cannot deport you, okay? Now, if you are not a citizen, you are only a permanent resident, yes, they can absolutely deport you. There is nothing that protects you from deportation except citizenship, okay? And citizenship would have to have been granted to you correctly, without a mistake on the part of the government, and without fraud on your part. What we see a lot lately, remember guys, when you guys go for the naturalization interview to become a US citizen, they are going to check and see if they granted you permanent residency correctly the first time they granted it. That's the first thing they are going to see. We have clients who have been permanent residents for 20 years. There was a mistake back when they decided all of a sudden, now it's time for me to apply for citizenship. Not only that, that citizenship application got denied, but now the government is saying we granted you permanent residency by mistake. So now they are between the rock and the hard place, and it's not a good position to be in. Could I have, MJ wants to know, could I have visitor visa, then stay in the United States by job offer? Very likely not, because the processing time for a job offer are significantly longer than the maximum 6-month period than you would get with a visitor visa. However, planning to come to the United States with a visitor visa and then remaining in the United States could be considered immigrant intent, and you could be denied for lying on your visa application. You should not try to do that until you should discuss it with your employer, discuss with the person who's offering you the position, and go through the proper channels to get that taken care of. How much does a case, the Glow Drip wants to know, how much an alien relative case takes in terms of time for F4 category? You have to look at the visa bulletin. F4 category is the absolutely lowest case in priorities, and the fastest ones, okay, which is not China, India, Philippines, and Mexico, take about 17 to 20 years. Starliner, for the joint sponsorship, can I use 1040 with W-2, or I have to use tax transcript? It depends on the type of application you are filing. The government does prefer that you use your tax transcript. If timing is of the essence and you want to file sooner rather than later, you can try with the 1040 with the W-2, but it's more to it than just that, okay? But yeah, you can try. Tax transcript, it's always best. Okay, I received prima facie. How long to wait for the work permit? Prima facie for what? For a U visa, you received the prima facie for a VAWA. How long you need to wait for the work permit? Also, prima facie has nothing to do with your work permit. Prima facie or the work permit have nothing to do with your green card application. You could be getting one and never get the others, okay? So just because you got the prima facie doesn't mean anything. It just means you submitted the proper applications, the proper forms, and you checked the boxes, okay? It does not mean anything else. How long does the Social Security card take? Grace wants to know. So Grace, if you got your work permit or your permanent residency, give the government about 4 to 6 weeks to update their records. Now, if you applied for the Social Security card as part of your record, then you should be getting that within 4 to 6 weeks. If 6 weeks have passed and you have not received your Social Security card, make an appointment at your local Social Security office. Go there with your approval notices and your work permit or green card, and they will help you right then and there. Okay, somebody in Texas, I'm assuming. Okay. Informal marriage and parole in place. I don't know what an informal marriage is. If you are in a common law jurisdiction, such as Oklahoma, for example, where you need to have lived with your spouse for X number of years to be able to prove that you are legally married, okay, then it might work. In most other places, it will not, okay? So it really depends on your jurisdiction and how you are going to prove that marriage. Does our office assist with asylum cases if people are in detention? No, we do not handle detention cases. Dr. Gizmo, I want to open a small business in the US. Can I get a visa to visit it once a week, every 6 months? It really depends on the type of small business, depends on what kind of visa you want. If you have right now a tourist visa, theoretically, yes, you can. If you are only visiting, are you going to do any work whatsoever when you are in the United States? Then we have a problem, okay? So it really depends. You should schedule an appointment with an experienced immigration attorney. We can help you, but you don't have to go with us to discuss particularly your business. How are you going to set up your business? So you do not have issues with immigration, because working while you are on US soil, it's a violation of most visas. Glam wants to know, how many documents per year do we need? As many as you need to prove that you have entered illegally and that you have been here continuously for the past 10 years, okay? In some cases, that may be every week. In some cases, depending on the documents, it could be every few months or so. You have to make the story and you have to make it look, it is continuous, right? What Shika wants to know, what if the parole expires? It should not expire. They give it to you for 3 years. And in those 3 years, you should have plenty of time to apply for your residency. Now, if you're worried that the parole is going to expire, that means you're worried about something in your immigration or criminal history, you should not start the case until you talk to a lawyer, okay? Because you may be starting the case, may actually get the parole, and you may not be able to do something later on. Okay, so Yakinja, so VAWA, yes. Just because you have prima facie doesn't mean you're going to get the work permit or the green card. It just means you checked the boxes and they sent you a receipt and they sent you a prima facie. That's it. Can I apply if I was detained at the border and did voluntary exit and after I re-entered the United States? Well, it really depends on your history, Joshua. You would need to do a Freedom of Information Act request to get a full record of your entries and exits and see exactly what they have on the record for you, because what you think you have versus what government, it's totally different than what the government says you have. What does adjustment entails? I-30 and I-845, absolutely not those forms. And what, please? A lot of other things, okay? So let's put it this way, guys. If you cannot read the instructions well enough to know what forms you need, you absolutely 100% cannot read the instructions on the actual forms to do a proper job. So the thing comes down to, how important is that residency for you or for your family member? And can you afford mistakes and delays? Okay? It took me 16 years to get my own papers, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And look, I'm an immigration attorney today, and I am because until I hired an immigration attorney 10 years in the process, I honestly didn't know what I was doing. Okay? So take that with I would have been so much further ahead in my life, my career, my everything else, had I hired an attorney from the beginning. Okay? So you decide how important this is for you. Can I book an appointment? I'm from Lebanon, Middle East. Yes, we have people from everywhere, all over the world, so not an issue. You can follow our link, our profile, and our information is right then and there. You can give us a call if you want, 954-466-0070. My father, Al-Badani wants to know, my father came 3 weeks ago to US with IR5. He didn't receive the green card yet. Is that okay? 3 weeks ago? You got ways to go. Wait. And he does have a green card. It's a stamp on his passport. He just doesn't have the actual card and the social. Good vibes. I know some was on the backlist at the airport that she coming to get the business marriage, and I must have missed a message because I don't see the rest of your message. I don't know what you're talking about. Can I use the same account as my husband on USCIS? It depends on your application. Did your husband file the I-130 for you? That is his account. Did you file your I-485? That has to be your account. You are the applicant. Do you help with EB-3? Yes, Daniel, we do. Do you need a lawyer to apply for parole in place? Well, I don't need a doctor to do surgery on me either, but that doesn't mean I should do it on my own, right? So how much risk and how much tolerance for risk do I have, and how important is my life to me, right? So I want you to think about that, right? Can you do it on your own? Sure, everybody can check boxes. Do you know you're going to check the proper boxes? Do you know what evidence you need to submit in order to apply for the parole in place? You might. I don't know. You may be an immigration lawyer for all I know. Can you do it on your own? Yes. Should you? Absolutely not. But that's my opinion, right? You do what's right for you and for your life. How long is the citizenship exam date? I'm assuming you mean how long does it take until you get scheduled for the citizenship exam? It depends on where you live. Right now, it's not that bad. It's only about 2 to 3 months. How much is my office fee for the parole in place? My office fee depends on the client's immigration and criminal record. It depends on what exactly we need to do. Have we represented the client before or not? What do they have pending or what they don't have pending? So our fee varies. It could be very wide range, very, very wide. Rosie, if I already have an approved I-130 and filed for parole in place, what would be the next step? File for parole in place. You wait for the parole in place to be approved. And after that, it depends on your immigration history. Do you have a removal order? You do not have a removal order. Do you have a case pending in immigration court? You don't have one. Let's assume you don't. Then you just go ahead and no complications. You apply for the green card after that, along with the work permit. My husband is a resident. Can I still apply after he becomes a US citizen? See, no, because you were not married with a US citizen on June 17, 2024. At that time, you were only married to a resident, okay? But Elizabeth, that does not mean you don't have other options. I see this a lot, okay? I'm waiting for this parole. I want to see what we can do. Parole may be your worst option, okay? That doesn't mean you don't have other options just because they are not a citizen. You have options sometimes simply by them being a permanent resident. How do you not contact an immigration attorney to discuss what your options are, okay? Law changes, especially with immigration. The law changes all the time. Look at this parole in place. There are other things that are being passed and changed all the time. Seriously, like I wake up every morning and I don't know what's up. So we need to follow up on that. So Elizabeth, if you don't want to give us a call, that's fine. If you want our number, it's 954-466-0070. You see it on our profile. Let's book a legal strategy session and discuss your entire history with all your options. You don't know what your options are. You don't need to call me. You can call any immigration attorney. But if you are not calling an immigration attorney to discuss your particular situation at least once every 6 months, you guys are leaving options on the table. What if I have both pending asylum and marriage-based green card? What about that? It's fine. Who cares? You have both asylum, you have marriage-based green card. If you have a marriage-based green card pending, that tells me you enter legally. If you entered legally, then you cannot apply for the parole in place. So I don't know what your question is. How long is the process for PIP? We don't know. It started today. So we don't know how long it's going to take for them to decide on the parole in place. And some people cannot do immediately after that adjustment of status. They may have to go through immigration court first. So it really depends. My husband has been here for 10 years and has a removal notice. Well, just because he has a removal notice, okay, it doesn't mean that he's not eligible for the parole in place, okay? I am an attorney. This is what I do, okay? I'm a lawyer, so that's what I do. I do parole in place. I do everything else, pretty much immigration, except court cases or detention cases, just because I just don't want to do them. And we can help you. So give us a call, okay? Let's see something. Got it. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got. How much time I have? I have a few more minutes. Criminal history. Does bad arrest record matter if the conviction was only disorderly conduct? It depends on when and where it was. Most of the time, disorderly conduct is not so bad. But every single time you had an arrest, every single time you had a case in court, whether it was, even if it was dismissed, you don't immediately qualify for parole in place. You actually need to submit additional documentation begging them for forgiveness. If I'm granted advance parole, can I travel outside the country without any issue with reentry? I don't remember correctly. You're the one who says he has an asylum pending. Do not leave the United States, okay? Elizabeth Alvarado, I already addressed that question. No, you cannot apply after he becomes a resident. He had to be a resident on June 17. I'm a permanent resident, adopted a baby overseas. I'm ready to come back to the US with the baby. If Patty, here's the thing. Talk to an immigration attorney who specializes in international adoption. Depending on the country, if it's a Hague country or not a Hague country, different rules apply. Most of the time, people who do adoption on their own have not complied with the requirements and they cannot get immigration status for their child. Seriously. All right, so I addressed most of these questions because you guys just like to put the same question a million times. How much information do I need to apply for my wife? I don't know anything about your situation. I don't know anything about your wife. That question doesn't tell me what you actually trying to accomplish. Do you receive residency with parole in place? No, you do not. Possession of stolen property was dropped to misdemeanor, then dismissed. Can I apply for PIP? It depends on the circumstances and the facts in your case, depends on the jurisdiction, and depends on how long ago it happened. Many, many things. You might be able to apply, you may not be able to apply. Okay, Unstoppable Shadeen. If your 485 is approved without an interview, what's the next step? You wait for the actual green card, okay? That's all you need to do. If it's approved without an interview, you wait for the green card. Can you apply for PIP with a felony? Most of the time, no. Have an attorney look at it. All right, so I have to go because I have another meeting. I addressed a lot of your questions. I'll try to do a bunch more on, I think, Thursday, maybe. So I'll see you guys there. Bye. Message me, put them on your message, and I'll address as many as I can. Okay? Bye.